Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. There's quite a few things I want to talk about in today's video. Real Madrid going in for JJ Gabriel. Cesco, obviously, reports on Cesco that is just an absolute disgrace. Media going in at Cesco, international break, absolute nonsense. Need something negative to write about Manchester United. We're going to stick up for Cesco and why I think the media is going in on Benjamin Sesko, and I think the criticism of Benjamin Sesko is an absolute disgrace, and I think it's just a Manchester United agenda. I think had he gone to Arsenal, he wouldn't get this level of criticism. We're going to be calling out the hypocrisy. We're going to be talking about the Glazers. The Glazer source cannot speak on the sale, and why is that? Why are Glazer sources not speaking on the sale? Is something ongoing there? We're going to talk about Kobbie Mainoo exit, links to Joe Bellingham. If we get time, Leacher should be back soon. And then just other general news reports like Joe Belabor, Midfield. Semenyo is a player that Manchester United want, and he has a release clause in his contract as well. Maybe we'll touch upon transfer news as well. So listen, people, I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a good Tuesday. We're back with a live stream. I've been so busy sorting out everything over the last few days, so I do apologise for the lack of live streams. Also, if you've just tuned in for the first time in a few days, you'll notice that this is a new setup. I'm in my new office. My new office right now is just 4 white walls. So it's going to be improved over the next few weeks. I don't have time to do anything this week, but next week I'm going to, I think, get some paneling, and maybe we'll get like a cool Man United backdrop or something, because I have to say it's a bit echoey in here, and I don't have my mic because that broke, and it's a bit echoey in here. So for the next week, the audio may not be at the best quality, but it's doable. I mean, it was better than the other week when my Wi-Fi went, and we did use my mic then, when the Wi-Fi was like, nah. So yeah, we've got lots to talk about, lots to discuss. I hope you're all doing well. Gaz says, I think the Glazers will leave. Gaz, I hope you're right, but I just don't trust them. I just feel like they're going to stay forever and never go. But hopefully they do leave for good soon, and hopefully we get some good new ownership in, and we can be back, get Liverpool off their perch, win a Premier League before Arsenal would be quite funny. And yeah, look, time to beat Liverpool at the weekend, time to go on the Premier League title challenge. I'm only joking. But you know what? I got called deluded actually yesterday. I was at shoot all day yesterday, and I just said, I actually have a feeling we might beat Liverpool. I just said, I feel like it's written in the stars. We've not won back-to-back games in a year and a half. And we've never won back-to-back games against Man United. And we haven't won at Anfield in 10 years. Everything says we aren't going to win that game, which makes me feel like, you know what? Liverpool have fallen off. It will be so embarrassing for Liverpool to lose 4 games in a row and be the team that lets Amrin win back-to-back games, that the pressure, maybe it gets to Liverpool. Maybe this is our time. But hey ho, before we talk about Cesco, I want to talk about JJ Gabriel. I want to get into the news and everything. Now this has come from Facheus, and Facheus is definitely my take with a big pinch of salt sauce. Team Talk, Facheus. I don't think they are the most credible outlets of information, but they do occasionally get things right. I think they were actually the first to report that Ange got sacked. And he did get sacked, but whether that's guesswork or not, who knows? But it was said by Facheus that Manchester United wonder kid JJ Gabriel is a target for Real Madrid. Now, we know that he was a target for Barcelona all throughout the summer. Manchester United were worried he was going to leave this summer and go to Barcelona, actually, but he did not, luckily. And that was the whole situation ongoing, and he stayed at United. His form has sparked potential interest from elite clubs, including Arsenal. Now, considering we took Obi and Heaven off Arsenal, they would probably love to take JJ Gabriel off us. You know what? Give us Max Dowman. Protect JJ Gabriel at all costs and go and get Max Dowman from Arsenal, please. That would be very, very good. I don't think Arsenal will get JJ Gabriel. I think the biggest threat will be Barcelona, not Real Madrid, if Barcelona do go for JJ Gabriel in the future. But JJ Gabriel has committed his next 2 years to Manchester United, which is very good to see. Guys, do let me know how the audio quality is coming out. Is it good quality? Is it bad quality? Again, it's just a big echoey room. I actually you can't see it, but I've actually put a sofa in behind me because I thought maybe that would cushion the echo, not sofa, a chair in behind me to cushion the echo. But it is just a big white room right now. So I hope the audio isn't too echoey. I hope it's come out all right. I hope you're doing good. But that was on JJ Gabriel. But I do want to talk about Benjamin Cesco. Let's get into it. So The Athletic did a survey. Okay, now The Athletic are one of my favourite outlets in football. I think they are very good. I think because it's paid, you have to pay to read their stuff, a lot of it. I think it means that they don't do this clickbait nonsense and that they have good journalists and they make sure they give you a lot of insight and they make sure that it's credible. And I think there's a lot of positives about The Athletic. But this, for me, was one of those international rate pieces to get clicks, to draw in clicks. That's what I felt that this was. And let's talk about it. So they've obviously asked people about signings, and they've come out with this on their report. Agents believe Cesco's move to Manchester United was the worst deal of the window. When 20 agents were surveyed, some voted for more than one player. Cesco received the most votes with 3. First of all, how has Cesco got more votes than James Trafford? How has Cesco got 6 votes and James Trafford's got 3? When James Trafford played a game against Tottenham was shocking. Donnaruma's come in and he's probably not going to play again this season in the Premier League. I'm just going to say that now. How can, Cesco, who's going to play most weeks and has scored 2 goals in his last 2 games, but if you look at his last 4 games, they've all been good round performances. First of all, I don't get how he is a worse signing than James Trafford. Sancho has played 3 games, or Sancho's not even got 8 minutes yet for Villa. And all we're hearing about Jadon Sancho is the controversy around Jadon Sancho off the pitch, where he's met some girl, apparently owes her money, got this girl's name tattooed on himself, and this girl don't want him. She wants him to give her money. I don't know. I don't follow the Sancho drama nonsense, to be honest. But there's that whole, for me, Connor Cody, I mean, no one really cares about that. Amari Hutchinson for £40 million. Jamie Gittins for £55 million. Don't get me wrong. I think we overspent on Cesco. I think we needed a midfielder more than a striker. I said I would rather sign 100 million midfielder and give Højlund 1 more year than spend 80 million on an unproven striker. Don't get me wrong. But Cesco's been better than Wirtz. Cesco's been better than Isak. Cesco's been better than Gittins. Cesco's been better than Hutchinson. Cesco's been better than Kirkes. I've not watched Connor Cody, so I couldn't tell you what he's been like. Cesco's been better than Sancho. This has been injured and not played. He's better than James Trafford. Cesco, you can argue, has been better than every other name on this list this season, yet he's top with 6 votes. I'm always reading negativity about Cesco. Have you noticed all of a sudden the media love Højlund, now he's left Man United? All of a sudden, the media that hated Højlund, everyone that disliked Højlund, likes Højlund now. Have you noticed that? It's the Manchester United agenda. Benjamin Cesco, he's fantastic, he's amazing, he's going to Arsenal, he's fantastic, he's amazing. Benjamin Cesco goes to Man United, now he's crap. He's crap. We are literally, in the international break, 20 people are asked who they think the worst signing is, 20 people that have probably not watched any of these signings play, and Cesco gets the most votes. More than Wirtz, more than Sancho. I think it's crazy. And look, people can say Højlund is better than Cesco. Right now, I'm going to be honest, if you're going off this season with the amount of goals Højlund's scoring, wow, Højlund's been better this season. But what Cesco has offered Manchester United in his last 3 games was more than anything Højlund offered in the game last season. Højlund was good in Ten Hag's season. Højlund was not good when Amorim came in. Under Amorim, Cesco's last 3 games offered us more than a Højlund performance under Amorim. So we can talk about Højlund being better than Cesco because Højlund is doing really well now. I'm very happy for Højlund. He's having a better season so far than Cesco, and I could not be happier for Højlund. But you cannot tell me that Højlund would have had a better performance versus Brentford for us and versus Sunderland for us than Cesco. Now it's Brentford and Sunderland, of course, but what I'm saying is Højlund is a product of environment. He's gone to a nicer environment. He's being nurtured, he's being given service, he's being played to his strengths, he's got his confidence. And as we always knew, there's a really good player in Højlund, and we're seeing that now. But if Højlund had stayed at Manchester United, we don't know what he'd have been like. We don't know if he would have been good, because he was not good for us for a full season last year, 4 Premier League goals. Cesco is already halfway to reaching Højlund's goal tally from last season. Okay, so as much as I liked Højlund and as much as I defended Højlund after his first season, because his first season was promising, I'd have to say what Cesco offered in the last 2 games is more than Højlund offered in any game he played under Amorim for us. I'm not saying that, Højlund may go on to have a better career. Højlund may go on to be the much better player. But we look at Sunderland, we look at Brentford. It was a good performance from from Benjamin Cesco, and Højlund doing really well this season, but he was poor for us, and he was not offering much. Alice, screw what the pundits think. Think we're seeing Cesco starting to do well. I'm happy enough. I mean, I'm happy with Cesco as well. I don't get this insane criticism of Cesco. Do I think we overpaid? Yes. Do I think we need a midfielder? Yes. Do I think that we've got another young striker that we're not giving a lot of service to? Yes, and he could struggle. Yes, 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 and yes. But is he the worst signing of the window? No. Had Arsenal signed him, had Chelsea signed him, had Liverpool signed him, would he be voted the worst signing of the summer? Absolutely not. It is just that agenda against Manchester United in the media. Media are now bigging up Højlund, comparing Højlund and Cesco. You can't compare Højlund and Cesco quite yet because it's two players in two very different environments. Højlund is having a better season, but we don't know if Højlund would be playing this well for Manchester United. I'm actually going to say this on foreign verts, but I actually think he's been a lot better than he gets credit for. He's been better than Salah for Liverpool this season. Florian Wirtz has been getting it online. Don't get me wrong. When you cost that kind of money, you're going to get it online. Not so much from mainstream, but from fans online. But I will say this with Wirtz. I think he's been actually better than Salah this season. I think that he's not been a £100 million signing, but I actually think he's been better than, when I actually watch him, I think he's been a lot better than what a lot of people are saying. So yeah, that is obviously the situation. It's echoey, yeah. Again, it's the new studio. I think in a week or two it should be sorted. We will decorate it. If anybody is good with designing offices, studios, setups for this kind of live streaming and stuff, honestly, ping me a DM on Twitter or at me on Twitter because I'm not quite sure what to do with this space. I won't lie to you. I'm just thinking of putting some sofas and beanbags in behind, getting some paneling on the wall, and maybe putting my 100 subscriber plaque somewhere, maybe putting a Man United thing in behind. Yeah, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with that. This club is a toxic mess from top down and won't change until we get new owners, says Gaz. I mean, I agree. At the end of the day, we can go for as many managers as we want. We can go for as many record signings as we want. But until we get competent owners, it's always going to be a struggle. It's always going to be hard to compete with everybody else until we get competent, genuine owners. I completely agree. Yes, Casemiro is playing for Brazil as we speak. Your audio is fine, slightly echoey, that's all. Yeah, it's just going to be like that for a few days. As you can see, I've got a chair in behind me to try and soften it until we get it all fixed up. I think if Cesco had gone to Manchester City, they would be bigging him up already, even if he wasn't playing behind Haaland. Probably. So yeah. Sorry, I just heard a noise. I think that's just water running. I want to continue on. We're going to talk about the takeover. There's been conversations, there's been discussions in regards to the takeover that I want to get into, and it's not really, I wouldn't even call this an update, to be honest. Let me share my screen. A spokesperson for the Glazer family was unavailable to comment on Monday regarding reports of a potential Manchester United sale. That's what we got. We really didn't get much. This is what we got. A spokesperson for the Glazer family was unavailable to comment on Monday regarding reports of a potential Manchester United sale. Yeah, that's what we got. And it's weird. It's been a week. It's been a week now since reports that United are up for sale. And then the UAE, it's been about 5 days. And normally someone would have come out and said something by now. Romano Ornstein would have debunked it by now. Normally by now something would have come out, something would have been debunked. But nothing's been debunked. And the Glazers aren't letting spokespeople comment on it or any of that. And I just think it's this kind of weird situation of, well, something's definitely ongoing. The way I look at it and the way I read the situation is something's happening, but what's happening? Something's happening. It doesn't mean we're going to be selling the club to Dubai. It doesn't mean full sale. Are we getting investment for the stadium? Are we talking about getting investment for the future? Are we having conversations over a sponsorship? Or are we having conversations over a full sale? Something is ongoing because we know that Dubai have reached out to Manchester United ex-players and had conversations that they're going to put a bid in for United, that they might put a bid in for United. We know the UAE, is considering putting in a bid for Manchester United and is having conversations with people in and around United Turkey said that obviously it's close, it's advanced. No other source is saying that the deal is advanced. No other source is saying the deal is close. But there has been a lot of news reports of the UAE having conversations. A lot of reports that the Glazers may look to sell to the Middle East. They can make the most money if they sell the club before February 2027. And that Ratcliffe would have no control and power in this whole situation. There's been a lot of conversations about it. There's been a lot of discussions about it. There's conversations with Manchester United and the Middle East that have been ongoing for the last couple of weeks. But I cannot sit here and tell you what was said in those conversations. I cannot sit here and tell you that there was conversations about full sale, because we don't know that. There was conversations ongoing. It could be about investment. It could be about sponsorships. It could be about a full sale. But the reason we're not hearing much about it is because something is happening and we don't know what is happening, but we will find out soon. They have to comment on certain things if the stock price rises to a certain amount, but it hasn't quite yet, I think. But when something happens, they have to report it because of the New York stock market, I believe, as well. There was a big meeting between Ratcliffe and the Glazers and Omar Barada last week as well, which was quite interesting. That was reported that there was a big meeting to discuss Manchester United and finances last week. So it'll be interesting to see what maybe could be brought up in that meeting as well. Why is everyone outraged at Rashford's comment? I don't know why people are outraged on Rashford's comment about needing a consistent environment. Let me get that up, actually. Let me get it up. So if you weren't aware, because some Man United fans are fuming about what Rashford said in an interview, but we've been saying this about every other Man United player. Rashford said, I feel like I've been in an inconsistent environment for a very, very long time, because he has. Everyone, like some Man United fans are fuming about this. I'm sorry. We've literally just talked about Højlund being in an inconsistent environment and how going to Napoli helps him, and McTominay. Does the same not apply to Rashford? You know, Rashford had 3 really good seasons for us, 2, up-and-coming seasons for us, and 2 shocking seasons for us, yeah? He's been in an inconsistent environment. He's left the inconsistent environment. He's doing very well at Barcelona. Like, I don't get the outrage over Rashford saying this comment. Facts. We just spoke about how much better Højlund's doing in a different environment and how it's hard to compare Højlund to Cesco because they're in different environments. Anthony, look at him. Rashford, look at him. McTominay, Højlund, look at them. Environment is key. Marcus Rashford is not a bad player. I got so much stick from people that watch my channel for saying things like, I believe Marcus Rashford is our best winger. I believe Marcus Rashford is one of our best players. But I also said, attitude-wise, off-the-field issues-wise, I get why he's got to go. Rashford had to go. His heart wasn't here, off-the-field issues. But I've always said, Marcus Rashford is a really good footballer that's underrated by a fan base, and I got stick for it. Because environment has been a problem. Rashford had to go. Rashford was brought down by the environment. Rashford was inconsistent. Rashford had off-the-field issues. But half the fan base is denying this, but Rashford has always been a very, very good player. You do not get 30 goals under Erik ten Hag if you're not a good player. And he showed he's a very good player. He showed he's a very, very good player, and he's all of a sudden in a good environment, and he's looking great again. People shocked. And like, are people shocked? I don't get why there was outrage about Rashford saying that. Rashford said facts. He was a good player in an inconsistent environment. Look at Anthony. Look at McTominay, look at Højlund. Yeah. Rashford could say the Glazers are awful and some United fans would disagree. I think some United fans just hate Rashford, and I think it's weird. I think you can think, yeah, he had to go, but I generally think that he became this scapegoat, and it was weird. I generally believe that he became, like, we could be bad and Rashford could be the second best player on the pitch, but if we lost, Rashford would get the abuse when there would be 10 players that were worse than him. I always felt like that. Rashford had to go. We all know that. But let's be honest, no matter what he did, he was just going to get stick from it from some people. Anthony was never United level when we signed him. Højlund should have never signed. I agree. I don't think Anthony was ever United level when we signed him. I think Højlund should have come if we'd have signed Harry Kane, and he could have learnt from Harry Kane. But Højlund as a lone striker, I think, is crazy. And now Bruno's the scapegoat. We had Pogba was a scapegoat for all those years. Maguire, McFred, Ronaldo was a scapegoat for a season. Do you remember when we did bad in that season that Ronaldo came in under Ragnick and people thought it was because we signed Ronaldo? De Gea was a scapegoat. De Gea was a huge scapegoat in Ten Hag's first season, and look at Onana. Bruno's the scapegoat now. For me, Rashford was inconsistent. He got overpaid way too early, and I agree with everything that you've said here. I think, but he was a good player. He was a good player. I think we have this problem where there's so many issues at Man United, and I think as a fan base, as a sort of copium, we convince ourselves if we just get rid of Rashford and sign this player, we'll be good. Like there's some people in our fan base that think if we sell Bruno and we bring in Baleba, all of a sudden we're going to be playing good football. And it's easy to convince yourself that. It's easy to convince yourself, we were really good under Ollie, but Fred as a pairing was holding us back. It's easy to convince yourself, had we had Declan Rice and not Fred, maybe we'd have won the league under Ollie. We still probably wouldn't have. Like under Amram right now, Bruno doesn't suit Amram's system. Bruno long term is not good for Amram's system. But right now, if we sold Bruno and got Baleba, and Baleba was playing there instead of Bruno, I guarantee we won't be much better. And that's not saying anything bad of Baleba, because I think Baleba will do the defensive work that Bruno doesn't do. But I don't think that we are where we think we are. I don't think it's this quick fix of get rid of him, bring him in, and United will be good. And I think there's a copium in the fan base that sometimes fans think we just need to get rid of Bruno, bring in Baleba, and it's all fixed, and we'll play good football, and it'll all be good. And it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. This scapegoat FC thing. Continuing on, guys, please do go ahead and hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. There is some interesting news coming out on Antoine Semenyo that I want to talk about, because I think Semenyo, if Amarin stays, I think Semenyo is the dream left wing back. Semenyo has been playing deeper for Bournemouth this season. I was talking to a Bournemouth fan about Semenyo this season. He said he's better on the left and he's been playing as a deeper role where he's been picking up the ball in deeper areas and carrying up the pitch. I'm looking at Semenyo as a left wing back who could play left 10 if need be. I'm looking at Semenyo as someone that could be an immense left wing back. And this has been said by Alex Crook. Antoine Semenyo does have a release clause in his Bournemouth contract. The exact terms of the release clause are being kept under wraps at Bournemouth, want to keep hold of their star man for as long as possible. I think it's believed to be 70 to 75 million. Semenyo held talks with Tottenham and Manchester United before signing a new bumper 5-year deal in the summer, while Liverpool are big admirers. I think Semenyo will unfortunately go to Arsenal in the summer. Something tells me he's going to go to Liverpool or Arsenal, Semenyo. But I'd love Semenyo at Manchester United. He can play on the left. He could play left 10, right 10, left wing back, right wing back. I'm just saying, if Amarin stays, Semenyo and Ahmad as wing backs, with Cunha and Mbeumo ahead of them, and Cesco at top, with a Wharton Baleba pivot, we're dreamland. And if Amarin doesn't get Champions League with that kind of team, then F Amarin. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Am I in dreamland? Is that realistic? Probably not. Will we get him? Probably not. But we did remember, according to Duncan Castles, Amarin took Semenyo out for dinner. Semenyo had serious conversations about joining United. Then Bournemouth offered him big wages to stay, and he stayed at Bournemouth. But we almost signed Semenyo. I don't know if we'll get him. He's been better this season than he was last season. He's been, after Haaland, you could argue the best player in the league this season, Semenyo. So it will be hard to compete for him. But Semenyo could be an unbelievable signing. I would love Semenyo at Manchester United, but nothing's going to happen until the summer. I'm not getting excited about Semenyo. Don't see us getting him. But people said the same about Cunha and Mbeumo, and we did end up getting Cunha and Mbeumo. Why talk about Semenyo? We haven't sorted out the midfield. I agree, but look, Wharton, Baleba, Semenyo, that you can't beat that. Talking of midfield, let's get into the news on Kobbie. So this was said on Kobbie. Maynard was trying his best, working hard and creating no problems. Ruben Amorim wants Maynard to stay, but his story could pick up again if he's not playing. Several clubs from England, Spain and Italy are interested in Maynard on loan. Maynard, I think, is going to go on loan in January. The thing is, I will say, Xerxes, I think, is gone in January. I think on loan, I think Xerxes is gone in January, unless Cesco picks up an injury. Because I don't see Xerxes playing himself into the team, because Xerxes needs to run a games to get full fitness, get matched up and get up to scratch. I think Maynard is too good not to play himself into the team. I know that it's Casemiro and Bruno, but I think Maino is too good not to play himself into the team. Bruno can always play further up. I think that Maino could stay, could play himself into the team, and I think we could be in a situation by end of the season where Maino could be one of the first names on the starting 11 under Ruben Amorim. I think Ruben Amorim just doesn't understand the player, understand how good he is and how to use him. But with Xerxes the one I'm more concerned about leaving in January. Because imagine if Xerxes leaves in January, Cesco gets a season-ending injury in February, we've got no strikers. And that's the big blow of not being in Europe, because we don't have the minutes for Xerxes and Maino that we'd get. Even people like Aiden Heaven aren't getting a lot of minutes this season. And Maino is frustrated, Xerxes is frustrated. When it's World Cup season, you want those minutes more than anything. And there's rumours of both those players leaving in the January window. I'm hoping that Maino will play his way into the team because I think he's too good. But when you look at when you look at Agate, Maguire, and Luke Shaw starting multiple games for Man United in 2025, but Maino and Xerxes don't, it's pretty mad. I understand why Xerxes is not playing, because he's brought in Cesco, and Cesco's his striker, and you've got Cunha, Mount, Bruno, and Mbumo, and Ahmad that can all play 10. So Xerxes kind of plays striker if something happens to Cesco, but also Cunha may play striker, and Mount may play left 10. So Xerxes is sort of this third choice striker, fifth choice number 10. I understand why Xerxes is not playing. I rate Xerxes. I want to see more of Xerxes. I think he's such a good player, and I don't think Ruben Amorim's realised how good of a player Xerxes is. But you're right. He's still good, but Maino, I don't get how Agate is getting more minutes than Maino. I still, to this day, I cannot understand how Agate is getting more minutes than Maino. Agate is, look, if we're 1-0 up against Liverpool with 10 minutes to go and we need someone to keep winning back the ball, you bring on Agate. If we're 1-0 up against Liverpool with 10, 15, 20 minutes to go, you bring on Agate. But Maino's been so good in the big games against Liverpool, against Manchester City. He's so technically good. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. In terms of midfield transfers as well, and I don't understand this, but United and Palace are both monitoring Joe Bellingham, who's reportedly becoming frustrated with limiting playing time at Dortmund. Joe Bellingham will be competing with Bruno Fernandes. Joe Bellingham, if we sign him, will be in the exact same situation as Maino, and the exact same situation he's in at Dortmund, where he's not getting minutes. I get why we're monitoring Joe Bellingham. Joe Bellingham's a great player. But if we sign Joe Bellingham in January, we can't guarantee him minutes. We can't guarantee him minutes. He's not playing minutes. It doesn't tick his box. It doesn't tick our box. I like Joe Bellingham, but I think we're either being linked to him by Build, because Build know that maybe Crystal Palace are looking at him, but if they just say Crystal Palace are looking at him, they're not going to get clicks. So let's say Man United are looking at him. I think it's a situation of Palace want Job. If we say just Man United, if we say Man United, it will get more clicks. That's the way I think it is. But I don't think Job is what we need. I think Baleba, Wharton, Elliot Anderson are probably the three midfielders that tick the most boxes that Manchester United need, in my opinion, I would say. Caicedo and Tonali is the dream. Don't get me wrong. Caicedo and Tonali is the dream for Manchester United. Alex Crook did say another potential deal for United is midfielder Joe Bellingham, but it is seen as a difficult deal to do mid-season, was also mentioned by Alex Crook. Alex Crook mentioned that Brighton have no plans to sell Man United target Baleba before next summer, and reports that the 21-year-old is unhappy and pushing for a move has been dismissed. So there has been reports that Baleba is unhappy and that Brighton will sell him in January, and United are going to go back on for Baleba in January. But according to Alex Crook, that's been dismissed. I think with Baleba, we'll know by December. I think they're not, because Baleba could pick up form and be really, really good. Baleba could pick up form and be really, really good for a bit. Then I think that we will know in December if Brighton are open to selling Baleba, and we'll probably have an understanding of, if they are open to selling Baleba, what price would that be? I think that's when we would probably know or get some indications if they're willing to sell. How is everybody doing, by the way? I hope you are having a good day. Hope everything is going well. People say no to Bellingham. I like the player, but I don't think he's what we need right now. Bruno disrespect is way wrong. I don't get the Bruno disrespect. If Joe's surname wasn't Bellingham, he wouldn't be as hyped. I think he's a good player, but I think he should have had a different career path than going to Dortmund like his brother. He's not as good as his brother, and he won't be as good as his brother, but I do think he's a Premier League level player. But like, I think he's someone that could be a Crystal Palace level player, but I don't think he'll be a Liverpool or Real Madrid level player like his brother. If I was going to be honest, when it comes to someone like Job. I mean, he's definitely a talented boy. He's definitely a very talented player. But I think, of course, the surname, I think, has maybe got him a little bit of overhype. And I don't like to say that in a negative way. People, by the way, we are on 125,599 subscribers. I am one subscriber away from 125.6k. So if you're new, you are more than welcome to subscribe to get us to that mark, while I just discuss the final news stories coming in as well. The pressure is on United, not Liverpool. Easy home win. I think the pressure is on Liverpool. 4 losses in a row, and to do it to United would be crazy. I think it's crazy. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Liverpool, but there's pressure on United, of course. But we've not won back-to-back games. It's more embarrassing if Liverpool lose to us. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. Guys, in regards to Leach's injury, though, he should be back very, very soon. And he should be back in training soon, which is good. Right now, nothing seems to be going on with transfer business, but it's very early. I think when you're in October and beginning of November, talking transfers is a bit of... I think once we get to December, because some people do deals late December ahead of the January window, I think there will be a little bit more credibility in any sort of transfer news and stories coming out. I do think we're going to look to do business. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we could sign some players in January. I think that we're going to look to do some potential business in January. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's very hard to know what we're going to do until we're a little bit nearer the time. But people, I'm going to redirect you over to Never a Foul. So go give Cass a raid. Go put Alice raid over on Never a Foul. I'm going to redirect you to there now. Thank you for watching. Bye.